I began working on this sermon with the intention of motivating you to do something. And as the process unfolded, a 10-year-old young man came to the rescue. You have met Dylan Fritz today, and you have heard his words, but I want to repeat some of them for you. This one little boy was by the window. I went over to see what was wrong. Nothing was wrong. So I asked him, "Do you want to play with anything?" He said, "No, I just want to sit by the window." I started talking with him, and we had a good conversation. And well, I got a new friend at Goof. I have been asked to motivate you to volunteer to some of the work that gets done here by the more than 100 people who volunteer in this congregation. They do things like yard work, thrift shop, trustees, communications, teaching and RE, ushers, greeters, coffee makers, pastoral care, which spans a spectrum from hospital visits to cards and phone calls, to the sick and those grieving the loss of a loved one, choir, special music, worship associates who help with the readings, planning, and keeping enough alcohol in the chalice to keep it burning. It's still burning. I lost my place, dadgummit. Sound, lights, membership, Green Committee, Renaissance Fair, Rainbow Committee, which promotes equality for lesbians, gay men, transgendered and bisexual folks, covenant groups, mentors, special friends, auction, and no talent show fundraisers. Now, if you didn't hear something on that list you like, talk to me after the service and I'll read the list more slowly. But why would we want to do any of that? It sounds like work. And it might take us away from all the other choices of things we have to do with our time. I have an answer. Dylan Fritz has an answer. You will make a friend. Making friends beats at the heart of what we do here. Emerson said of friendship, "The effect of the indulgence of this human affection is a certain cordial exhilaration. In poetry and in common speech, the emotions of benevolence which are felt toward others are likened to the material effects of fire. So swift, so much more swift, more active, more cheering are these fine inward iridations. From the highest degree of passionate love to the lowest degree of goodwill, they make the sweetness of life." Now, y'all, we could have stayed up all night and not written that. The sweetness of life. What did Dylan Fritz find by that window in the Spirit Playroom? He found the sweetness of life. He found the emotions of benevolence, and he found fire. And that is the sweetness and the benevolence and the fire that burns in this congregation. Watch yourself as you walk out of this sanctuary this morning. You won't be mulling any wisdom you heard from this pulpit. You probably won't be humming the hymn that we're fixing to sing. Maybe. But most of you will be shaking hands with and hugging and smiling into the faces of your friends. This is a society of friends, a gathering place for connection. And if you have not yet discovered how wonderful these people are in this congregation, it is because you have not yet attended enough board meetings. Or meetings of the program council or the committee on ministry or the finance committee or the endowment committee. These are not only places where a lot of work gets done, these are also places where much laughter and tomfoolery cement the bonds of friendship among this extraordinary alliance of smart, caring, with it, engaged people. And Dylan Fritz is right. You will make friends. Unitarian Universalists are particularly in need of friends because many of us come from families that think we're nuts. My brother has come around, but most of the members of my extended family believe I am in a world of trouble. because I come here and because I spend time with other UU congregations on Sunday mornings. But my friends understand. In fact, it was friendship that brought me here and friendship that has held me here. Our friendships are built on commonly held beliefs. Our belief in religious freedom is our hallmark, but we like other kinds of freedom too. We like the freedom to think for ourselves. I loved what you guys had to say about your experiences in the youth group. Many of you will remember the quote from 13-year-old Avery Gardner, who said of our RE program, "They not only let us think for ourselves, they expect us to think for ourselves." Sometimes I will say things here in this pulpit that draw disagreement from you. It doesn't often happen, but I imagine if all of you mentioned to me every time you disagreed with me, it would happen a lot more often. We cherish that kind of freedom. When I was a United Methodist minister, the issues were mostly theological. People would say to me, "That's not what the Bible says." Here, disagreement can crop up over darn near anything. But mostly it is done in a spirit of friendship, a spirit that would lead Dylan Fritz and most of the rest of us to make new friends. Do we dare risk that kind of friendship? The kind that inspires benevolent emotions, the sweetness of life, even fire. Might we not be vulnerable to our own awkwardness or perceived flaws? If all these people in this congregation are so cool and groovy, they're not going to like me. I'm too dumb or ugly or poor or unemployed or undereducated. Do we dare risk all that to build the kinds of friendships that have made this place an oasis of religious freedom in this town for 62 years? We want you to. We want you to. We want you to. How wonderful it would be if we could guarantee it will always be cool. We have so many cool memories of powerful worship services, staying up till 4 a.m. talking about the problems of the world, fun social events, successful Renaissance fairs, and volunteer fairs, and alternative gift fairs, and artisans fairs. There is so much good going on here. But bad things happen too. People get hurt. Assumptions are made that are simply wrong, and damage gets done. Our mistakes cost us terribly, and issues of trust rear their ugly heads. Sometimes this place can feel like a big old mess. We can at least be honest about that. We can serve up our brokenness to each other and ask for glue and tape and bubble gum and baling wire to hold our hearts together again. We can give up any hope of perfection, instead realizing the delicate truth that life is difficult. Scott Peck famously wrote in the opening of The Road Less Traveled, "Life is difficult." This is a great truth, one of the greatest truths. It is a great truth because once we truly see this truth, we transcend it. Once we truly know that life is difficult, once we truly understand and accept that, then life is no longer difficult. Because once it is accepted, the fact that life is difficult no longer matters. We hold to our difficulties as though they were the most cherished things about us. William Sloane Coffin said, "Some people need their mistakes to tell them who they are. The way some people treasure their sins, you'd think it was the holiest thing in their lives." That's William Sloane Coffin. The key to practicing the kind of friendship that has ennobled this gathering for 62 years is friendship that transcends mistakes, flaws, sins, whatever bumps come in the road. It is simple. Is it simple or easy? Or can it be done without repeated practice and attention? No. This brand of friendship is difficult. But once we accept that it is difficult, it becomes less so. The fact that it is difficult no longer matters. Alfred E. Newman, the icon of Mad Magazine, graces the cover of our order of service today, making a parody of that more famous "I Want You in the U.S. Army" poster of Uncle Sam. I chose Alfred E. Newman because he looks much goofier than Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam looks so stern as he calls young folks to kill and die for their country. Newman is calling us to Emerson's definition of friendship and to Dylan Fritz's definition of friendship. To you young people who've just participated in this bridging ceremony, I want you to listen to me. You're going to be asked to do a heap of listening in the coming weeks and years. Convocation speakers, baccalaureate preachers, teachers, parents, and more will ask you for your ear as you go through these rites of passage. You won't listen to much of it, as some folks are not listening to me now. But this advice is short and it's sweet. Risk friendship. Risk friendship. Dare to trust people who will sometimes let you down. Trust them anyway. Because at the end of life's journey, you won't treasure your house or your car or your seats at the football stadium. You will treasure the family that fate has dealt you, and you will treasure that tiny band of fellow travelers with whom you have made friends. Life is golden and fine as we use these emotions of benevolence to light fires of friendship and create the sweetness of life.